Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free, hit the subscribe button. So I want to tell you guys a story. I get a phone call last night. I did that Kovalev video, right? And I get a phone call last night, and it's from by many consensus, a top 20 fighter, right? World champion, etc., etc., etc. And he calls me and he says, I need you to give me some tips on the real estate. And needless to say, I'm not going to tell you what we talked about, etc. But it just dawned on me. It literally dawned on me that praising these niggas with jewelry and beautiful cars and mansions and yachts is a beautiful thing. But if you don't own the shit, if you don't own it, what good is it? What good is it? What good is it? Listen, y'all can say what y'all want about Floyd Mayweather. Y'all can say he's this, he's that, and you have the right to your opinion, and I don't agree with everything Floyd Mayweather does. But the one thing I do agree with Floyd Mayweather on, he owns deeds. And I think it's important. I think not shame. People say, oh, we should shame these rappers and shame these fighters. No, 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 no. The reason why we can't shame them, because they're the ones that can elevate us financially, right? They can be the barometer. They can be the foundation, you know? It just has to go from steering the car left to steering the car right, you know? And I just think it's important that we lend our hands, we lend our voices, we lend our tutelage, and we keep the consistent theme going. Now, you guys are gonna say I'm talking to black people because I'm a black man. I'm talking to all these fighters, all these managers. There's no retirement plan in boxing, and we talked about that. There's no retirement plan in boxing, right? You have to have investments. You have to have investments. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I think it's crucial that we strive for economic freedom. Because I hang around these guys a couple times a month on the weekends, and they got their flashy cars, they got all this jewelry, they got all this drip, you know what I mean, as a young kid said. But my follow-up question was, in addition to the jewelry, what else do you own? Deeds? Do you own keys? Like Jay-Z, I got the keys, y'all miss, man. I think that was one of the more overlooked songs and messages. Jay-Z dropped so many gems. It's just insurmountable. You selling drugs where your mama rent at. Come on, man. And I think it's important. I think it's crucial. I think I'm reiterating this again. I think it's important that we own where we live, we own where we play, and we own where we work. I genuinely think it's important. This ain't no black message. This is a generational message. This is a message of inspiration, you know. I was just real humbled that this fighter called me. I don't know how he got my number. I have no idea, but he felt compelled to call me. I guess he'd been following me for a while, and every now and again I talk about owning stuff, or, you know, and I think it's just important. I think it's important. In addition to owning, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I own beautiful watches. I own beautiful cars. I own a beautiful home. In addition to all of that, we have to have assets that accrue positive interest. You know what I mean? That's how banks stay in business. They give you a 3% interest rate on $1 million property, and they make 3% until you finish paying the loan back. You understand? That's how they stay in business. And I think it's just so important that we understand this game, Because truth be told, and I've said this a lot, they're not the alpha and the omega, or the genesis and the revelation of the movement. I also believe that the people with money that are part of our culture can accelerate the process much, much faster. And I think it's just important that me, you, remind everyone with money that it's not just the jewelry, it's not just the beautiful cars. It's, do you own the garage where you park that beautiful car? Do you own the closet, or do you own the nightstand when you take off that watch? Do you own the nightstand where you lay that watch at night? You know, and I think it's just entirely up to us. You know, I'm parked on the corner of Hyde Park and Crenshaw right now, right? You can see the revitalization, gentrification of our community, and how these owners are creating generational wealth is invested in positive assets. You know, and I think it's just incredibly important that we remind the young kids who aspire to have money and aspire to be successful, we give them the same message that these fighters, these basketball players, these rappers, to invest and create positive outcomes, positive income, positive assets, you know, because we can all get caught up. And I was a victim of it in my 20s, you know. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was making $100,000 a year, and these NBA players are making $3-4 million a year, and I'm trying to have jewelry just like them. It made no sense, you know. And then when I had it melted down, I got a third of the price back. You understand what I'm saying? So, love your last name and fall in love with the ability to turn 1 cent into 2 cents. Fall in love with the concept or the ideology of turning 2 cents into a nickel. Fall in love with the ideology and the belief that you can turn a nickel into a dime, and so on and so forth. Because, truth be told, people can have all the money in the world and not have wisdom. They can have the knowledge of how to make money, but they don't have the knowledge or the wisdom to turn that money into assets. Because some people just make money to spend money. You know, I think America brainwashes us into believe that, and I think it's important, and I think it's important that I share this message, and I lose track of that a lot. I lose track of that a lot because I have to get the information that you guys, questions you guys want. You guys don't want to hear questions about, you know, although I think it's important, because I lost sight of that, you know, I'm around all these millionaire fighters, and I got to ask them who they fighting next, and who disagrees with who, and how much he's getting, and when are you going to fight this person. I lost sight of the fact that in addition to asking all these questions, I, and many other people too, in the boxing community and sports community and the media, have to remind these fighters and these managers and these promoters that there's no retirement in boxing. How are you turning that How are you turning that $3 million check into $6 million worth of investments? You know, and learning the ideas and the ideologies of, I mean, it's real simple. It's the same thing, the same concept it takes for you to get up in the morning. Everyone has this. You get up in the morning, you say your prayers, you stretch, You wash your face, you brush your teeth, you put your deodorant on, you put your clothes on, you go downstairs or you go have breakfast. You send your regards to your loved ones and you're off to work. The same discipline it takes to do that is the same discipline it takes to invest in stock. The same discipline it takes to invest in real estate property. All right, it's a positive habit. You know, that was a simple example, but you repeat that every day, so you become great at it. You can do it without missing a glitch. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing. So we have to remind each other to create these positive habits. And I think it's just essential that we remind each other. You know, and I know a lot of boxers watch our channels, and I'm not the only one that they watch. But I think it's important that these young fighters are getting all this money, getting all these bags. You know what I mean? More money. Let me tell you this. I've never got $1 million check from work ethic. Never. I've never gotten $1 million check from work ethic. Never in my life. I've only gotten $1 million through real estate. I've never caught a touchdown. I've never, however you say it. But then again, it's fake because I never own $1 million. It just goes right back in the dirt. You know, I mean, it's just a transfer of funds. You know, you sell something or you pull out of something and you reinvest it. I've never seen $1 million in my life. Not unless Floyd Mayweather had it. You know what I mean? I don't know how much money he has in that bag. You know what I mean? That's the most money arguably I've ever seen in my life. You know, I've seen $100,000. You know, but I've never, for real, I've never seen $1 million. Oh, the Plaza has $1 million in casing, I believe it was, in downtown Las Vegas. But truth be told, I've never, you know, dope boys have that advantage on me. I've never felt and touched $1 million. I've seen it in check form. I've seen it in wire and funds. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think it's essential and important that we remind and encourage that drip is beautiful. Let me tell you, I want all of that. I want all of that. I mean, just to encourage you, the Bible says what? There's going to be a mansion with gold on it when you get to heaven. Right? So that's an inclination that you're supposed to have that drip. You're supposed to have that Rolls Royce, that AP or that Rolex watch. You're supposed to have that. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with Floyd Mayweather buying an $18 million watch if he has investments to cover that cost. You know? And but I just did this video. I was just inspired when that guy called me last night. I was driving home. You guys saw last night. I was driving to charge. I did that Kovalev video, and I didn't recognize the number. It was a number I've never saved in my phone. I was like, oh shit, who's this? I didn't know who it was, you know. And I picked it up, and he's like, man, I just watched your video, and I just, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm doing this video just to encourage y'all and remind us that in addition to the jewelry, I mean, in addition to the beautiful cars, everyone wants the Escalade. It's a beautiful car, man. Everyone wants the Rolls Royce. It's a beautiful car. Everyone wants the Porsche, the Lamborghini. Mikey Garcia just bought a Lamborghini. But Mikey Garcia should also tell us should teach us how his family got 1 million acres out in Riverside. That's a beautiful thing. They own acres and acres with animals and cattle, and you know, that's a beautiful thing. I want to learn how y'all did that. How did y'all get that deal done? You know what I mean? These are the questions that his supporters and fans should be asking. In addition to the other, we obviously want to know who you fight next. What's the game plan? But in addition to all that, and I'm trying to make this relatable to us. You know what I mean? Floyd Mayweather should talk about how he got these business deals done. You know, how did he invest in skyscrapers and owning all his homes? He owns a $20 million, $30 million home in Beverly Hills. Owns a house so big in Miami. He's buying his neighbor's house. You know what I mean? He wants to, I mean, these are, in addition to how you throw a jab, we need to know how you close deal on these deeds. You know what I mean? And I think it sounds so much more profound when we hear it from them. Hearing it from me, it feels good. Oh yeah, he knows what he's talking about. But when you hear it from them, when you hear from Mikey Garcia, how he owns 100 acres. I don't know how many acres, but it looks ginormous when I see it on video. How did you get that deal done? What inspired you to own all that land with all that cattle? And that's a beautiful thing, man. You know, since Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence is the fight of the year thus far, the build up to it, I would say. How did Big G go from working the fields to now he owns acreage? How did they do that? What was the mindset? What was the game plan? You know what I mean? How did you know not to get all, how you know not to get all the jewelry? What inspired you not to get all the jewelry, but buy all the land? You understand where I'm coming from? So at the end of the day, I just want to encourage, send this to your favorite fighters, Twitter, Instagram, because we all fought. I mean, you could say I'm a fashion hoe. I'm a label hoe because I only wear Nikes and designer shoes. That's it. I don't wear nothing less. And you could say it's a premature. You can do what you want. You can say what you want. But at the end of the day, we, in addition to getting all these beautiful things in life, we need to create assets that allows us to get these things and not hiccup. Allow us to buy these things and not work an overtime shift. You know what I mean? How many times? Shit. All my 20s, I had to work overtime. My entire 20s. One day, Dre is going to get on this and tell our story. I think it will sound better coming from her. Oh, shit. Teach, grad school, then go train. Teach, grad school, then go train. I had to put, man, in it. Dre will tell that story one day. Hopefully she does. She hates this Instagram. I mean, this. So anyways, man, she's real private. But anyways, as I digress, this is just encouragement. I just want to encourage y'all. All right? You never, ever know. Because you see people, you see people on TV and you think they have the world in the palm of their hand, but they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to make it into an asset. You understand what I'm saying? I'm using Floyd and these polarizing names on purpose. I think Floyd Mayweather was a genius how he came out to the fight against Oscar De La Hoya. A genius. I think that was one of the more genius moves he's ever done in his life. You know, that outfit he came out to Oscar De La Hoya was genius. It was genius. On so many different levels, man. I mean, you know, but just turning haters into assets. Turning haters into assets. The same people that booed him against Oscar De La Hoya bought the pay-per-view against Ricky Hatton. Bought the pay-per-view against Maidana. Bought the pay-per-view against Robert Guerrero. Like, it's just genius. Genius. That one move, him coming out to the Mexican colors and all that, that one ring walk, that was 200 meters, made him $200 million. In addition to that was just the icing on the cake, probably. In my humble opinion. I can walk around LA right now. I can ask 100 Mexicans, what do they feel about Floyd Mayweather? And they're gonna say, I hate him. He's too too arrogant, right? But the moment he say he's fighting Cinco de Mayo, they're gonna spend that 99, 95, right? So at the end of the day, create assets. All right, create assets, and you'll win in the end. You know, just to get back to that fighter, I was just flabbergasted that he would call me. I'm like, what the fuck? I was shocked, you know, and you know, at the end of the day, assets, 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 and I have to hold myself accountable. Not when the camera's on, but I need to remind these guys that $100,000 piece of jewelry. I can go to Atlanta right now with $100,000 cash and get 4 homes. Put a down payment on 4 homes. I'm going to Dallas early on a Tuesday. Why am I going to Dallas on a Tuesday? So I can learn the market. I'm studying it online every goddamn day, right? I went there in June. Black Fight Fan introduced me to some people. I'm going back March 12th on a Tuesday early so I can learn. I'm going to get a rental car so I can learn the market space. Because if I have $100,000 here in LA versus $100,000 here in Dallas, it's no comparison. You know, so as I'm learning, I want you guys to fully understand the value and the power you have. And if you can't do it by yourself, believe in group economics. That's what marriage is supposed to do. Marriage is for group economics. You have kids for group economics. People say you have to make beauty. No. In addition to all that, above all of that, the reason why you have kids is for group economics. So we can do this together. We can create a legacy as it starts raining in Los Angeles. You understand what I'm saying? So fall in love with the idea of turning 1 cent into 2 cents, 2 cents into a nickel into a dime into a quarter into a 50-cent piece, and a dollar, 50-cent piece into a dollar, and a dollar into a $2 bill, and so on and so forth. So anyways, man, I done harped enough. But invest. And this is gonna be my love gift to the boxing community. This is gonna be my love gift. Besides your primary residence, because everyone takes pride in how big their home is and how beautiful their house is, do you own assets? You understand? If you're a multi-millionaire and you're in the prime of your career, why are you living in a state with state tax? Why? It makes no sense that you should be living in Texas, Florida. It makes no sense. You're not going to be there anyway. Just relocate so you don't have to pay taxes. Why are you living in Los Angeles and New York and Chicago and all these big cities? Relocate your ass to Florida, Texas. I think Oregon, Arizona, these states, I think so. So you don't have to pay state tax. And keep that money. Anyways, man. You know, I hugged, and Tyron Brown was next to me too. I hugged DeMar DeRozan. Was it 2 years ago? No, this past last summer. I said, for those of you who know, I trained DeMar for 2 years before he went to USC. And I hugged DeMar and I said, I know you're mad about leaving Toronto because that's the first team you got drafted on, and I helped them get ready for the NBA draft and all that, just so you guys know my background. And I hugged him and I said you're gonna be really happy. Or I gave him like one of them brothers handshakes. I didn't hug him. I says you're gonna really be happy when you get your paycheck when you get to San Antonio. It's gonna change your life. It's gonna change your life. It's going to change your life. Have you ever bought a plane ticket to Toronto? I've been to Toronto like 8 times. The taxes on it is just ridiculous. And when he got his check, October 1st or whenever they start getting paid, they get paid every 2 weeks, I believe. I don't know. I know he looked at that check and was like, wow, I might move to Texas and just visit LA in the summertime. Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Hopefully this video got through to somebody. But this is going to be my love gift to the boxing community. What do you own? Every time you get $1 million check, 20% of it should go towards an investment. 20%. I mean, it should be more, but I'm saying just to learn. A minimum of 20% should go towards an investment. If you got a $3 million check, go spend $150,000 on a 4-unit building, a down payment on a 4-unit building in a big city. You're making $6,000 a month, $7,000 a month. You understand? Gross. You know, before you got to pay all the bills down. But anyways, man, I just want to salute y'all. And that phone call reminded me that I need to be more proactive in having private conversations with these fighters. You understand? And anyways, man, barbershop conversation. My daughter's in the back. She probably like, You're talking too much, Daddy. Barbershop conversation. Talk to you soon. Peace.